Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Attendance Matters vlog series. This is actually the third time I've tried to record this video because we're having some work done, and every time I try and go to record it, somebody starts drilling nearby, which is a bit too noisy. So fingers crossed, third time's the charm. So episode 5 marks the halfway point of this 10 episode vlog series. I hope you have found this information useful, and if you have any feedback, I'm always happy to receive this. This episode is titled When Your Child is Unwell. So every parent knows children get sick sometimes. When they're truly unwell, feverish, exhausted, battling contagious illnesses, of course, they absolutely need to stay home, rest, get better. We want them well enough to learn and take part before they return to class. That said, it isn't always easy to judge what too unwell really means. And some of the kind of common challenges we hear is, oh, they don't feel great, but they're not exactly ill either. They're sort of, just feeling a bit today. And this is where we really need your partnership. Because for many mild illnesses, sore throat, sniffles, headaches, bit of a cold, most children can and should still come into school. The NHS guidance is clear. Unless they've got high temperature, vomiting, diarrhea, or they're too unwell to physically get out of bed, usually it's safe to attend. And more than that, it is beneficial as well. There is some information on the school website that shows you some information from Essex County Council about which sort of illnesses, if they're diagnosed, students can and can't come to school with. So it's worth having a little look on our website. I'll drop that in the comments section on YouTube when I upload this video so that you can get access to that. So attending school even when a child feels slightly below par actually helps them build resilience. Learning to cope with small discomforts like tiredness, sore throat, is part of growing up. Life doesn't pause for us every time we feel a bit under the weather, and school is a safe, supportive environment in which they can learn that skill. And it is a skill. It takes time to develop, but it is a skill. That doesn't mean we expect children to suffer through illness. If your child has a proper flu, a fever, physically unable to learn, then yeah, please do keep them home. But we do ask families, to consider carefully, is this something that is truly going to stop my child from being able to learn today, or will it today just be a bit harder than usual, but still manageable with some support and encouragement. Sometimes, if they feel ill in the morning, just getting into school, even on those tougher days, gives children a boost. They see their friends, they settle into their routines, and because they're obviously so busy, they often feel better as the day goes on. Staying home, on the other hand, can mean, missed learning, missed connections, and sometimes then they get sort of worried about returning to school about what they've missed. So, what if you do decide they are too unwell to attend school? Well, this is really important. From a recording perspective, the school has to choose what we think the most appropriate registration mark is to give your child. So, if you obviously ring in and tell us that they are ill, that will be illness, an I code. Now, if we don't hear from you, this will go down as an unauthorised absence. And obviously, we need to hear from you. It's really important we hear from you. Because should you accrue 10 registration marks, and there's 2 registration marks per day, AM and PM, 10 of them over a 10-week school period, we have to follow governmental policy. We might be forced to go down that kind of legal route, which can result in fines and prosecution, potentially if that's not the first occurrence. So 5 days where we don't hear from you is 10 missed registration marks, and that's the point at which we actually legally have to start doing something. And obviously, whilst we don't necessarily want to go down that process, it's not something that we enjoy doing. It's something that if we don't do, we'll be held to account for. So we will do it because we absolutely have to do it. It's literally our jobs. So what is the right way to let us know that your child is too unwell? So if you decide that they need to stay home, please follow our reporting procedures. Please call us before 9 a.m. on the first day of absence. And that's really important, before 9 a.m. Staff are usually in from 8:30. Okay, so any time between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, really important. Let us know what it is, what the reason is, and how long you think they might be off for. Now, just because you rang us on that first day doesn't mean that they're covered for the period of illness. Unfortunately, the way that it works is that you have to report every day. Okay, we need communication from you every day as to whether or not your child will be in school or not that day. So if they're still in on the second day, please make sure you get in touch again. If you don't, then you'll get an absence message, something like that. Try and be specific. So saying feeling unwell is a start, but if you can say, they have a fever and a sore throat, or they were vomiting last night, something like that, it helps us safeguard them properly. We won't pry for details about every single medical incident, but us having a full picture of what has happened to them and what they've been through, that can help us support them back into school as well, which is important when they do return from illness. Stay in touch. If your child is off for more than a couple of days, we'll check in. If that continues for an extended period of time, usually more than 5 days, you can expect that we will likely arrange a home visit. That's part of our statutory safeguarding responsibilities for any and all students on our roll. If we haven't seen them for a period of time, we need to get eyes on them. And whilst we appreciate that that can seem invasive to some people, the home visits are designed to be supportive, but also that we can maintain a visual assessment of students' well-being. So it is something that we have to do. If we're unable to do it, it goes a step further that we then have to contact the police to make that visual assessment. And obviously we'd rather do it ourselves because we have a pre-existing relationship with you, and obviously we can often provide support and guidance as well, which obviously a random PC knocking at your door probably can't do. With obviously medical stuff, illness, please try and avoid unnecessary appointments during the school day. We know it's difficult to get GP, dentist, optician visits, stuff like that, but try, please, wherever you can to book them outside of school time. If it can't be helped, then we need to know in advance. Please don't just send your child in on a day and be like, oh yeah, they're leaving this afternoon. Ideally, try and let us know beforehand. Get in touch via the Arbor app, send us an email. Just let us know with as much notice as possible. Just to remind you, our morning roll call is between 8:30 and 9, and then our afternoon is between 2:15 and 2:45. It's vitally important that students are present between those times because those are the times where it affects their attendance record. And attendance records are things that get passed over to apprenticeship courses, to sixth form colleges. They want to see a record of the history of attendance. So it is something that they are allowed to be given access to. If your child has a longer term health concern, whether that's physical or emotional, we want to know. There are simple things we can put in place, rest breaks, quiet space, modified timetables, someone that they trust, whether they can check in with. The more that we know, the better we can work together to support them. And, we're never here to judge. We don't want to judge. We do have a duty to help your child reach their full potential. So obviously we will push, because regular attendance does matter, even when it is a bit of a push for the students. We know from experience that students who attend consistently make better progress. It's there in the statistics that the ones who are here more make better progress. They feel more confident socially. It's easier to keep up with their work, and that's reflected in our results every year. The students with the highest attendance on average achieve the best overall academic outcomes. As always, it's about balance. We understand illness will happen, but with your judgment and our support, we can make sure it doesn't become a barrier. And let's help your child keep going, keep learning, and know that some days will feel harder, but they won't have to face them alone. If you're ever in any doubt, give us a call. We're always happy to talk it through. Thank you very much for your time.